Farming Some Bitch here. So in honor of hitting 500 subscribers on YouTube, we're going to do a little Farming Some Bitch intro and how we got the name and how we got here and how we kind of started farming and how we got a YouTube channel going. So in 2018, my wife and I decided we're going to have a little tractor show here at the farm. So we're trying to come up with a catchy name. And our neighbor does a car show called The Hardcore Happening. Now that's a cool name. So I said, man, we got to come up with our own name. So I was thinking one night and I come up with this name. So Some Bitch is an acronym. Stands for Some Unique Machines Brought in to Commemorate History. Some Bitch. So we call it the Some Bitch Show. We got new t-shirts coming out for 2022. So the first year we had about 70 tractors. Probably 300 people showed up. Last year we had over 100 tractors. We get some old cars, classic trucks. We'd like a little more of that stuff, a little construction equipment. So the Some Bitch Show is actually a fundraiser to raise money for Alzheimer's. My father-in-law passed away in 2016 due to Alzheimer's, so you can't just have a tractor show for no reason. So we charge $5 an adult. And this year it happens to be September 4th. It's a Sunday, Labor Day weekend. A lot of people bring their tractors in the day ahead of time. So the first year we raised $3,000. The second year a little over $3,000. Then COVID hit. We sold t-shirts and stuff. We still raised about $3,000. Last year we raised almost $11,000. So the Some Bitch Show kind of grew. We thought at the first year we'd have 10 or 12 tractors show up. We've always been amazed at our neighbors and friends for the generosity, and the show has been a pretty good success. So as you can see by the 7520, got a 6030 in the background. I am an old tractor enthusiast. We farm with all pre-1983 tractors, and we got a couple old Peterbilts we'll show you here in a minute. So we'll, and then the Some Bitch name, when I started an Instagram account, a buddy of mine wanted to start me an Instagram. I said I didn't want one. Well, kind of as a joke, I said, make my name the Farming Some Bitch, and it just caught. So my shtick was on my videos, I'd say, Farming Some Bitch here. And then my little catchphrase is, great day to feed the world. So we carried that on to YouTube. Hopefully our YouTube channel will take off. Hopefully you enjoy watching these videos. And let's take a quick tour of the farm while we're walking around. We'll tell you about the history of how we got started, and we'll go from there. Thanks for tuning in. So in 2009, we got an opportunity to buy this 4430 from a guy, his estate sale. So we bought this old girl, and I think this tractor's got around 14,000 hours on it. Knock on wood, since we've owned it, we've only done some hydraulic work to it. We love her. We pull a 1,000-gallon Hardy sprayer behind it, and we try to do all our own spraying. And so we started out 2010 with 140 acres. The farm has grown a little bit. We're still a small farm, but we farm about 1,000 acres. Our son works for us full-time. And Mrs. Some Bitch and I, she's full-time here on the farm, and myself as well. We sell seed corn, do some other side hustle. We'll talk about that a little later. So in 2010, we bought this Power Shift 4020. She was rough. So put a paint job on it, bought a different set of fenders, roll bar. Troy rebuilt the motor the year he got out of college. And we pull a rock picker with it. It's kind of semi-retired now, but man, I love this 4020, and I think she's going to be here forever. In 2011, we put up a 10,000 bushel Stirrator bin. So we dry our corn in there, we put wheat in there, put soybeans in there in the fall, and then we transfer it into the 55,000 bushel bin. We got an auger that we just run on a PTO up to a roof auger. There's still a little corn in the bin, but we try to dry and store all our own grain on farm, and we really enjoy it. One of the border collies is over there. They're good farm dogs. So our little 8440, we bought that the summer of 2010. Said, if we're going to be big-time farmers, we got to have a big-time tractor. So we bought an 8440 out in Ohio, and we nicknamed her Bart. Stands for Baby Articulator. So Bart has been on the farm forever. So then we've got ourselves a 4440 we bought in the winter of 2014. We put a loader on it a few years ago, and it was our corn planter tractor. She's semi-retired now. Love my 4440. I thought about selling it this year, but then I thought better of it and kept it. This 4650 I bought at an auction on Diane's birthday in 2014, the last day of February. Oops, I just gave her birthday away. Send her gifts, please. And bought this tractor reasonable. Done quite a bit of work to it. Put a reman motor in it. Did a little transmission work to it a couple years ago. We didn't pay much for it. Last year we put 462 hours on it. So really love our 4650. She's been a good tractor. That little truck we bought in 2010 with a 4430. Bought that cheap. That came from the same family. We use that for hauling fertilizer and a little bit of grain once in a while. The 9500. This old girl has 6,200 hours on her. We had two 9500s until a year ago. We bought a 9670 STS. But 9500 combines, in my opinion, are probably one of the best combines ever built. They're nimble. They're light enough in the mud. They just do a great job. You get a clean grain sample. They're easy to set. So our son Troy typically runs this one. We do quite a bit of custom combining. I love my 9500, and this one came out of Indiana. We nicknamed her Indy because everything's got to have a name. So, yep, we love our 9500s. So a year ago, we bought ourselves, oh, we got garbage in the way, a 9670 out of Ohio. Bought a 625 flex head out of Indiana at an auction. So these are newest machines. This is what we typically run, but we do run the 9500 through all the wheat season to get done a little sooner. Our wheat'll sprout here in Western New York. So we are standing in our beautiful shop. This thing is my pride and joy. So we built this in the spring of 2011, and if anybody thinks that stuff happens overnight, we built this barn, used a gravel floor for 2 winters. Then we could afford to put the cement in it. We put cement in it. It's 54 by 72. And we worked in a cold, for 3 years we worked in here in the cold. We finally got the walls insulated. My son and I hung a radiant heat tube in the ceiling, 40 foot long. It keeps it very comfortable in here. And over there by them painted green 2x4s, we got a little window air conditioner. We run that. It's insulated really well. We can usually keep it pretty comfortable in here. So we're in the process of digging this combine out. It's 1st of July. It's time to get these machines ready to go. We got the old flex head in here. Gonna throw a new cutter bar in that in the morning. And we keep our 9670 and that 9500 in our heated shop all year round. We put them over against the wall. That's why the duals are off the big combine. And then we could still back 2 tractor trailers in here for hauling salt or hauling, we pretty much retired from that business, but when for hauling corn or something in the winter, we could still back 2 loaded tractor trailers in here. Still have room on the other side. We got a little parts loft. This is where we host our Sumbitch show. So I like to joke that this shop is corporate headquarters, and I cannot imagine farming in Western New York without a heated shop. So like I say, this place is our pride and joy. We got a 24 foot by 16 foot door, and sometimes I wish it was a 30 foot wide door, but it seems to work for us. And if you ever come over, this is where we're gonna drink our beverage, right here in this heated shop. So we farm in Caledonia, New York, about an hour east of Buffalo. We're in the snow belt. We get close to 90 inches of snow here a year, but it's always at some point in the year it's too wet, and it's always at some point in the year too dry. So we just planted these black beans a few weeks ago. And they're coming up, but there's a few spots that are dry. They're not coming up so well. So our crops we grow are field corn, soybeans, black beans, winter wheat. There's a strip of winter wheat down there by the grain bins. We're up back at the home farm. But the most interesting crops we grow, we ventured into a couple new things. We now have, last year and this year, between the 2 years, we planted about 6,500 Christmas trees. My wife keeps them mowed up beautifully. And on the other side of the Christmas trees, can't really see them, but over there in the cover crop, Troy's got a couple acres of pumpkins planted. So we're experimenting with them. We're hoping in a few years, it's gonna be a while, we realize, 6-7 years, we'll be selling Christmas trees. But it's right here behind the home farm. We got an old barn over there. You can't see behind them trees. We got a dozen sheep just as a hobby. We're gonna sell the trees out of there, and behind the trees, behind the grain bin, behind the tallest trees is our old farmhouse built in the mid-1800s. So we remodeled that up about 16 years ago, and that is also part of corporate headquarters. So this is our 2002 Peterbilt 379 got 600 horse cat motor in it. Troy rebuilt the motor in this a few years ago. We pull this trailer with 3 fertilizer tanks on it during planting season. We use quite a bit of starter fertilizer, and we put nitrogen down with a zone builder. So we got the opportunity to buy this truck, I think in 2015, and she has been a nice old truck. We're pretty partial to our Peterbilts. So our 1978 359 Peterbilt with a 400 horse Cummins motor came on the farm in 2011. I decided if I was going to farm, I wanted to have my own truck. So we bought that old girl. We still use her. And then we got a white Peterbilt, a 2000, that technically Troy drives, and he's part owner in all the trucks, our son Troy. So last summer he was hauling stone for a guy, and he got into a predicament. They hooked the chain on the front of him. But they always talk about chains breaking and being careful. Well, the chain broke and it come up over, hit the hood, went up over the hood. He's very lucky he didn't get hurt or killed. So, but we, like I say, we love our Peterbilts. I know they got sleepers. We don't need sleepers, but we hauled road salt for 6 winters to make a little extra money to support the farm and get us going and get us on our feet. So our trucks have done us well, served us well, and yeah, we couldn't live without them. So we sell channel seed as well, and this has been a nice little side hustle for us. Last year it was so wet in the fall of 2021, we had to buy tracks to put on the the 9670. So we put some tracks on. These boxes are waiting to go back. We got a pile of them over there, a few over here, and there's my pride and joy. I love my red Chevy pickup. I don't care what brand of pickup you like. That pickup right there has just been a great truck for me. So this old plow is in what we like to affectionately call the dingweeds out in the backyard. But this plow my brother-in-law gave me, it was his grandfather's plow, and then his dad had it. So my niece and nephew, my nephew helps me with the YouTube channel. We're waiting on a tire for it. But this old Oliver plow we're gonna hook behind our John Deere 720 gas tractor and hopefully take it to a plow day this fall. And then in the background there's a one-row corn picker. When I grew up, or as a little boy, we used to pick ear corn. So when I was in my teenage years, I spent a lot of evenings after school picking ear corn. So bought that a couple years ago to play with. We did a cool YouTube video last fall. If you go back in our old YouTube videos, you'll even see it. We got a little mini combine and we got that picker going, and we had a couple combines in the field. It was a lot of fun. So I just love old stuff. So last but not least, in our neighbor's barn, who graciously lets us keep a couple tractors in here, we put some in the front section in the wintertime so they don't have to sit out. We cram her full. This John Deere 720, my grandfather bought at an auction, I think in the fall of 1960. It was used, brought it home. My dad owned it till 1984. He traded it in, and after 28 years being out of the family, the guy that owned it wanted to sell it. So in 2012, my wife and I bought this old 720. It's a gas, but she means a lot to us, so we keep her here in the neighbor's barn. We're going to get her out for the Some Bitch Show, and we're going to drive in the parade, and it's just cool to have a tractor back in the family that was gone for years. And then we have a John Deere 4320 we bought. I used to do a little bit of messing around with a buddy of mine back in the 90s, and I had a 4320, sold it to a friend of mine, missed it from the day I sold it. So found this one, I think out in Iowa. Bought this baby, got her home. She's not perfect, but she's a lot of fun. And so, as you can tell, I love classic old tractors. And there's a wagon that still got a couple ears of ear corn in it from last fall. So, hope you enjoyed the tour of our tractors and the farmstead and the shop. And now you know where the Some Bitch name came from. And as I always like to say, it is a great day to feed the world. I hope you are too.